Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Frisco, Texas, home of the FCS National Championship game here at Toyota Stadium between number 1 James Madison and number 2 North Dakota State University. James Madison, as we all know, ended North Dakota State University's streak last year 27-17 in the Fargo Dome, doing the unthinkable. They would eventually go on to beat another Missouri Valley Conference member, Youngstown State, 28-14. Earlier today, I had a chance to catch up with the James Madison players and head coach to talk about this matchup. All right, Marcus, you've played in every game this year. I mean, you and Trey can provide a pretty good 1-2 punch. How has that been so effective in your running game this year?
I think the main reason why that's been effective is just because we both kind of bring different things to the table. And on top of that, it gives us a chance to kind of both be fresh when we're in there.
When you saw the bracket, what did you think of when you had a chance to meet North Dakota State again, but this time in the finals and not the semifinals?
Yeah, I think everyone was excited, obviously, for the opportunity, and now that we're here, it's exciting. I think definitely the best two teams in the country going at it, so it's going to be a big game for sure.
Talk a little bit about that Weber State game. You guys were down a little bit, and then it took your kicker to kick a game-winning field goal, but you guys just seemed to never give up. You battled back. You kept fighting. You were always in that game. You were never out of it. What did that game do? Did it wake you guys up a little bit, or what did it do to you guys?
I mean, I wouldn't say as much of a wake-up call. I mean, obviously any game like that is, I guess, humbling in the sense that, you know, you got to earn every win. But that's something that we already knew. I think that the way we battled and fought in that game just kind of speaks to how we are as a team. You know, no one's gonna hold their head, and everyone's looking to make the play. We got a whole team of playmakers, so I think that just speaks to us and believing in each other.
Provided a great 1-2 punch this year. What has that running game done to complement your pass offense?
It's helped our play action, forcing teams to play the run, and it opened up our receivers, Terrence and Riley. You guys,
Weber State, quarterfinals of the playoffs, kind of looks like a little bit of wake-up call. You guys were never out of it though. And it took your kicker to kick a game-winning field goal. What that game do to help you beat South Dakota State the way you did?
Yeah, it definitely was a wake-up call, and I think it stressed us, as far as getting our work done earlier in the game. You don't have to, fight with your back against the wall. And I think that, prepared us for next week. We wanted to get on the team early and get our job done.
What does it mean to come back to Frisco after last year winning it all?
It means a lot. Because, last year at this moment, everyone's saying once-in-a-lifetime thing. You dream about this as you grow up. And it means a lot to be back. You just want to enjoy and suck up as much as you can.
What would it mean to walk out a two-time defending national champion once again?
It means the world, man. I would never imagine myself being in this position or with this great of a team. It'd be a dream come true.
You guys played at North Dakota State last year. What does it feel like different this year?
Well, I think for one, we're not going to be playing in Fargo, which I think that will help us out. Obviously, playing at North Dakota Stadium is very difficult, very loud team. I think a lot of things have changed, but a lot of things are the same. It's the same coaching staff, so we're going to have similar makeups. They're going to be a very disciplined team, very strong team up front, and they're going to give us a really good game, and it's something we're really excited for.
What's one word you would use to describe North Dakota State's defense?
I would say discipline. I could probably sit here and say a bunch of different words, but I think when I look at them, they play very hard, and they play very hard consistently. So I would just say they're a very disciplined team.
One thing you've been able to do this time is prepare over 3 weeks instead of just 1 week for NDSU. How much has that helped?
I think it has helped. When you get into these games in the championship, a lot of things can change in 3 weeks. They've had 3 weeks to see us, and we've had 3 weeks to see them. So, I think you're going to see the game play out, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. They've got a lot of time to study us. We've got a lot of time to study them. So, it's going to be an interesting matchup.
If you could point to one thing that you think will be the biggest difference maker for either team and who wins and who loses, what would that be?
I think it usually comes down to being really good on third down. Obviously in this game, there's two really good defenses. North Dakota State is a very, very talented defense, and we like to believe that we have a good defense as well. So, I think offenses being good on third down is going to be a big, important part of this game.
Talk about what do you see? What's different about this team from last year's team?
North Dakota State or JMU?
Both teams.
Okay, well, I think for JMU, not too much has changed. There's a lot of different guys and different numbers out there, but we have a lot of the same mindset. I think we're stronger in certain areas than others that we were last year. And, we just found a way to win games. And I think that's, what made us good last year is, when it comes down to crunch time, I think, we're able to take the veterans in our group and, rally up and make plays. And, I think for North Dakota State, they're a similar team to last year. Obviously, very talented team. They played really well on offense as well, scoring a lot of points. And, I think they're very similar to last year, and we're going to have a good challenge in front of us.
Was that Weber State game a wake-up call for you guys? Because then you guys just steamrolled South Dakota State, who everybody thought they were going to be your biggest challenge.
I don't know if it's a wake-up call or not. We played a really good team at Weber State, and I think, if anything, how our next game against South Dakota State played out, people should give more respect to Weber State. They were a very talented football team and a really good secondary, and had us game planned really well. And I guess in a way it's a wake-up call, but I think it's good for a team to go in and win difficult games, in crunch time like that, because you're going to probably be caught in those situations again, and when you have experience in that situation, it's going to help you in the future.
How has this year been different for you guys in terms of preparation, knowing what it's like to play on this stage?
Do you mean just for this break or the whole year?
This break right now and being in Frisco right now.
I think in ways it felt similar to last year. The only difference is, we've been here before, so we're not going to have to walk into this stadium and be shocked and look up around at the lights and see everything and kind of be in that shock factor. I think we're able to come out here now and get better practices in and and be more focused than last year.
Ethan, take us through that game-winning kick. What's going through against Weber State? What's going through your head? What's going on? I mean, I know it's a big kick to send your team into the semifinals. Take us through that.
Well, basically, if I started thinking about how big of a kick it was and like how if I don't make this, then we could very well lose, then I probably easily could have missed it. So I just tried to treat it like any other kick. I didn't have any of the noise like in my head, and I just treated it like it was a regular extra point if we were winning by a lot. And I didn't even think about how if I made it, we were going to win.
You've been pretty successful this year, and that's been able to help that offense. And if you're within 50 yards, it's pretty much money for you, it looks like. How have you been so consistent throughout the year?
Well, the same way Coach talks about how every game we just have to be us and do the same thing every time. I try to think the same way with my kicking. Like every kick is the same, whether it's an extra point or a 45-yarder. I just try to have the same mentality and thinking that if this extra point could go 40 yards and just try and do the same thing every single time.
How are you able to block out that noise?
It's just a lot of focus. And I've been kicking for like 5 or 6 years, and it just takes a long time. And I just try to stay in my head about keeping with the fundamentals and not thinking about what everyone else watching me or everyone else thinking about me.
What does it mean to be in Frisco, Texas as a freshman?
It's unbelievable. I'm very lucky to be a part of this team and to be able to contribute to this team. And I rely on them just as much as they rely on me.
Back in Frisco, second straight year, what does it mean to you guys?
It means the world to us, just to be able to get back after being here last year. A lot of people said, last year was a fluke and it was a one-time thing, but to be able to get back shows a lot about our program and our coaching staff. You
and Brian have a chemistry, and I'm going to compare you to two great NFL players, Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson. That back shoulder throw is unbeatable. What makes that so great?
I think it's just the practice. We've been practicing on that since spring, throughout the summer when it wasn't mandatory to go out and practice, and throughout camp and throughout the season. I think that's why me and Brian's connection with the other receivers has been the way it's been throughout the playoffs and why it's showing so well.
What stands out to you about NDSU's quarterbacks?
I mean, they're talented. They don't make mistakes. They're in the right place when they got to be there. Whether they're injured or not, their backups are the same exact way as their starters. They don't make mistakes. They're a physical, hard-nosed football team, and their corners are going to come down and hit you. They're not afraid to play and get up in your face.
Is it frustrating as a wide receiver where one guy gets tired, one quarterback gets tired, and the next guy comes in just as good?
Oh, absolutely. That's the situation we've been dealt with our own team. We have a lot of good cornerbacks and a lot of depth at the cornerback position. So I think that is an advantage for us, and I'm sure the same is for them, is we have to go against talented corners every day in practice.
You mentioned last week kind of a growing rivalry with NDSU. Can you expand on that a little bit? Is this something you feel or something that happened, or just, what do you mean by that?
I think number one, and I didn't have anything to do with this, but I think it was back 2011 when NDSU started their run. I believe they played JMU in their first round game or their second round game that year and knocked them out. So it started with beating JMU, and then last year in the semifinal, certainly with us having the opportunity to go up there and get that win in the Fargo Dome last year was certainly a significant win for our program and led to the national championship last year. It put an end to the 5-year dominant run that North Dakota State had. And I think if nothing else, I promise you, they haven't forgot that. And I promise you, Coach hadn't let them forget it. And so, he's been preaching getting back to Frisco all year. We've set that as our goal. The polls came out in the preseason. You got number 1 and number 2, JMU, North Dakota State. You start the playoffs, you've got number 1 and number 2 in the seeds, JMU, North Dakota State, and now you've got both of us down here in Frisco. So I would think that both of us have heard a lot about each other. Both of us respect each other tremendously, or at least, we do North Dakota State because we understand the things that they've achieved and the things that they've done, and I respect the way they've done it. But this game is going to be a good ball game on Saturday. It's going to be one that I said a while ago that, if I was a fan, I would want to see this game. I would want to be sitting in the stands. And, Chris and I, we may age 10 years, in that 3.5-hour span on Saturday, but it's going to be a hard-fought, heated, intense ball game Saturday. And whoever comes out on top, I can promise you, these two programs aren't going anywhere. And so you're going to see these two programs on the national stage for the foreseeable future. And I would say this isn't the last time you'll see us facing each other. So I think there probably is a building rivalry there.
Do you feel like a win Saturday would, I don't want to say push NDSU off the top of the mountain, but I mean, is it a way to kind of cement what you guys did last year?
I mean, they went 13-1 this year, following up, 6 straight years of dominance. I think they're right there at the top. So a win Saturday would probably keep us right there with them, I feel like, and certainly I think it would keep us more in the national talk about the dominant teams at the FCS level. But they've achieved and accomplished too much to move into the back seat or anything like that.
These are the top 2